All right, ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about the ego. I want to make a video based on the ego. Do you know anything about the ego? Well, I know a little bit, but what I wanted to do on this video is I wanted to read a few segments to you guys so that you could get a better understanding of what the ego is and how the ego works and those types of things, because I can't do it justice just by telling you myself. So what I want to do is I want to take a few seconds to share some things with you that I'm going to get from the research that I've done. And my research, again, goes deep into the Google search bar. So I got a lot of this information from Google. Hopefully we'll get an understanding a little bit about what the ego is and how it works. The first thing I want to say is the ego is the psychological component of the personality that is represented by our conscious decision-making process. Does that make sense? The ego is the psychological component of the personality that is represented by our conscious decision-making process. The id is the instinctual biological component, and the superego is the social component of our personality and conscience. Our behavior is determined by the interaction of these three components. Now, what is the ego in behavior? The ego represents just one component of your full personality. The ego operates based on the reality principle, which strives to satisfy the id's desire in realistic and socially appropriate ways. The reality principle weighs the cost and benefits of an action before deciding to act upon or abandoning impulses. Does that make sense? So, what is the ego in real life? The ego's function based on the reality principle, a mechanism that requires individuals to forego instant gratification for a more appropriate time. It also works to achieve a balance between our moral standards created by the superego. For example, our ego prevents us from eating lunch during a job interview. So the next one I want to discuss is what is the ego, superego, and the id. Now, remember, the id is the impulsive part of our personality that is driven by pleasure and repulsed by pain. The superego is the judgmental and morally correct part of our personality, and the ego is the conscious part of your personality that mediates between the id and the superego and makes decisions. Got it? That's pretty simple, right? But did you know that there are three egos? That's right. There are three egos. The three ego states are called parent, adult, and child ego states. These three ego states comprise individual personality. Each ego state is an entire system of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors from which we interact with one another. I did not know that. Did you know that? So I wanted to share some of those things with you guys today, just so that you can kind of get a feel of what the ego is. And before I leave, I want to leave you with this final explanation is why the ego is a problem. There is nothing wrong with having an ego. There is nothing wrong with feeling important, but the ego needs to be related. The problems arise when it affects our decision-making or your mood, or it turns into a victim, an underdog, or it makes you feel superior to others in order to justify your behavior. That's when the ego becomes a problem, which kind of makes sense, right? And after sharing that with you guys, I hope you were able to get a, kind of an overall understanding of the ego, because we all have an ego. Keeping our ego under control is paramount to success when it comes to the end result, because we want to try to remain as humble as possible during the process. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you kind of want to show your ego because of the situation. That again goes a little deeper than just, you being able to flex, but it is what it is, right? All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you learned something. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be able to say that more often. I keep forgetting to say that, and I'm just starting this channel, so it's necessary that I kind of, put that in the thoughts as you're viewing these videos that I'm creating. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, have a great evening, and I'll see you on the next video if I can get my cursor to do it.